episode 180 of the White Cat Outdoors podcast. This week we got Tom, Frank, myself, Nick, and our buddy Austin Enterline, who's been on a few times already, in studio tonight to talk about last week's turkey hunt we did up in the Adirondacks. So Frank wasn't on the trip with us, but he was able to kind of provide some questions and stuff like that because he wasn't there. So it was a good dynamic. But Austin and Tom and myself were all up there with our buddy Keith. Keith's been on the podcast before, so you guys should recognize that name if you've been listening for a while. But we had a great time up there, made a ton of memories, and also got some turkeys on the ground, or a turkey on the ground. I know if Tom and Frank hear that, they'll correct me. So just one turkey. Before I ramble any further, why don't we just get tuned into this week's episode?
So I did the cardinal sin. I pull up my bow, and then I look dead at his antlers. I got out of the truck, and when I slammed the door, I heard gobbles all around me.
Let's see it.
Alaska, moose, spot and stalk. That is the bucket list.
I agree.
White Cat Outdoors. White Cat Outdoors.
What's up, everybody? We got a packed house tonight to talk about the turkey trip that I was not part of. You guys all went on it. We got Nick.
Yep, I'm here every week.
Yep, haven't missed once. And then
Haven't.
Tom's here.
Tom the Tom Killer here.
Tom the Tom.
Yeah,
Killer.
debatable.
Attaboy. And then we got Austin. You were on the trip as well, buddy.
Hello.
It's been a couple weeks since we've had you around.
Yeah.
Why did we have him on a couple weeks ago?
Kentucky
his
bird.
Kentucky bird, yeah.
Kentucky Bluebird.
Yeah.
Kentucky Bourbon.
It was the kickoff, and now the finale.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tom, I'm going to direct it back.
Hold on, real quick. There's 4 of us,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 of us killed birds this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not.
Tom's bringing it up.
Yeah.
There was an elephant in the room. There was tension. I just had to,
Cut it with a knife. Yep.
just get it out of the way
Yeah.
so we can move on.
I had birds going a bunch of times, but I was hunting a lot in the morning before work and was running out of time, and it just
You got to talk to your boss. That dude's an asshole.
I know, I can't stand that guy. So yeah, that's I wasn't good enough, Tom. I was not good enough.
I had to hire an expert guide, so.
Yeah.
Austin and I just get it done on our own.
Yep.
But anyways, I wanted to direct it back to you, Tom, because you're kind of the one that brought me and Austin in on this trip. So if you could Frank and I briefly talked about it, but I didn't know a whole lot about it last week because it was so last minute for me. So if you want to just kind of break down the hunt, where we were headed, kind of just the plan behind it, all that stuff.
So my typical Memorial Day routine is I go up to the Morrison farm for the turkey finale.
Yeah, we've been doing that for 10 years now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this year I couldn't round up a crew. Parents were doing some odds and ends around the house. Nick said he wasn't going. Luke wasn't going. Carly had to work. And at that point, I'm like, well, I'm not even going to go. I didn't even mention it to Frank. And I'm not going up there just
By yourself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then Keith gets a hold of me and goes, hey, you want to go up north to the Adirondack Mountains and turkey hunt?
It's Adirondack. There's no N.
Adirondack Mountains. And I'm like, absolutely.
We weren't quite in the Adirondacks. We were actually on Tug Hill. I just wanted to say Tug. I want to see how many times I can say Tug on this podcast.
I hope it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
Somebody get a Tug counter.
That's 3.
You know what? Never mind. It's an important detail. So me and Keith decide we're going, and he's like, see if your brother wants to go. So I asked Nick, I'm like, hey, you want to go up north with us? He's like, probably not. And I was like, oh. All right, then.
Well, so a little bit, I was under the impression that this was going to be like a 7+ hour drive. And then hotels and stuff. Like it was, and I had just I was off, technically unemployed for a week. So I missed a paycheck and I had just started a new job. So it was like just
a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot going on that way. I'm like, I don't know, man. Just wasn't really feeling it. But anyway.
So he tells me probably not. And I said, well, I don't really want to make this 5-hour trip by myself. I'm going to see if my buddy Austin wants to go. So text up Austin right away. He's like, I'm in. So then Nick and Austin were up at the cabin, and Austin was in Nick's ear. Oh, you got to go, you got to go.
Well, now it's an uneven number.
Yeah. And it's good to turkey hunt in pairs.
Yeah.
So we get all 4 of us. Me and Keith are going to hunt together. Nick and Austin are going to hunt together. And we finalized the plans. I think it was Sunday. And the plan was to leave at 5:30. This is a key detail. 5:30.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
The following Friday. So I get out of work at 5.
Should have just thrown your headset. You said you weren't going to bring it up.
Yeah.
And I text Austin. I said, hey, I'm heading out of work. I said, you can come down early if you want. And he doesn't text me back. I'm like, maybe he's packing up the truck. So I get home, get the truck loaded up. Nick gets the truck loaded up. It's like 5:25. I'm like, I should have heard from Austin by now.
Yep, that was a little mistake on my part. Ended up showing up it was probably about 45 or an hour later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took a little turkey snooze.
Them
Yeah.
third shifters, I tell you.
Bunch of bums. Sleep all day.
Not used to getting up that early, so.
So we hit the road.
Which, I mean, we do got to rag on you a little bit, but in all fairness, there really wasn't any rush to get up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you weren't.
besides to just have a good time when we got there.
Yeah.
But-
Which I'm sure you still did anyway.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Burn some hot dogs.
Yeah, that was true. So we hit the road about 6:30. I'll just say it was an entertaining ride. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We got there in one piece, and
I had fun.
get the truck
Yeah.
unloaded.
Snapchat said you and Austin both had a great time.
Yeah. We did. Austin did convince me to stop for one potty break.
Some
So,
doesn't
And then-
like doing
oh,
When you
multiple.
drink
Speaking
a
of-
case of Twisted Teas.
Speaking of, Tom told us, we talked to Keith earlier, we were supposed to stop and get some pizza on the way at this pizza parlor that said was awesome.
You were going to meet up with him there.
No, we weren't going to meet him there,
you
but
were just gonna
yeah, Keith
he
was
told us about this pizza joint gas station. He said you got to stop at this gas station and fill up and get a
Get a
slice
pie.
of pizza
yeah. So we stopped before that, for
because
just
they
a quick
wouldn't shut up about it. Can we please stop and take a piss?
So we stop, and then so Austin and I finish up. We get back to the truck. We're waiting. Tom comes out with Arby's, jumps in, doesn't say a word. And I'm like, I thought we were getting pizza. And he's like, well, we stopped now. We're not stopping again. As we're leaving. So now me and Austin are like, well, that sucks. Like, kind of hungry.
Tom
It's
must have spent like 20 seconds filling up his truck because I don't know how he did that so quick.
Yeah. And pulled around to the other side of the building.
Yeah.
Come out, truck's gone.
That's nice.
So me and Austin had to starve in the back seat.
That is pretty funny. I'm sure you still had a great time.
Yeah, I did.
So
Yeah.
we get to camp shortly after 11, get all unpacked, and Nick and Austin think now is probably a good time to fire up the grill. So they get the grill going, throw 4 hot dogs on it, and come back inside, and they're bullshitting with me and Keith. And I don't really know how much time passed, but I do remember they open up the door, and there's just smoke rolling out of the grill. I'm like, I think the dogs are done.
We did give him one rollover, and then it was the second time.
Yeah, we did. We timed the first rollover, but yeah, Austin, you're right. We forgot the second flip, and I tell you what, we made some charcoal.
Got out of hand.
And we left him in there all night. Tom
Yeah, I went to
up.
cook burgers the next day, and there's 4 charcoal black hot dogs. I feel like if I would have picked one up, it would have just pulverized, turned into
Crumbled
powder.
to dust.
Yeah, it was fun though.
And mind you, what we were staying in was, I'm just going to ballpark, it was probably a,
10 by 10.
no, it was a rectangle, maybe 10 by 12. 1 room, 1 set of bunk beds, 1 queen mattress, and Nick had to pull out a cot. There was a window, a fan, and heat
And the
was,
smell of dead mice.
Yeah.
That's
But it
the
was
best.
dry and it was warm and couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah,
Had
it was
electric.
perfect.
Yeah.
So we, have a few.
I will say, I've been in hotels that cost me less. Like it was cheap. It was $65 a night for 4 people. So split that a few different ways. It was like $50 a night. Actually, you split one 4 ways. There's not a few ways to split it up, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it was like Tom said. It was just right. We had a little porch on the front with 2 chairs. There was a community fire pit, bathhouse. Got everything you needed. Bar within walking distance.
So
you definitely need that.
Yeah.
we go to bed Friday night and wake up nice and early Saturday. I had big aspirations to shoot myself a long beard. And Nick and Austin, they found some public that they were going to try. And me and my professional guide, Mr. Keith Sharp, went on to some private that he had gained access to.
And he's been there before.
Yeah.
Was this property that he had permission on or property that he could hunt?
This was property that he had permission on.
Okay. There's
Yes.
a difference.
Yeah, we went and talked to the guy.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So we get set up, and how this property works is there's this big ravine that runs right through the middle, and in front of the ravine there's some hardwoods, a big open field, and then the road. But then on the back side,
You found hardwoods?
oh yeah,
Yeah, Austin and I were in the bush the entire time. It was very difficult.
Yeah. I didn't understand why it was so thick where we
You
were walking through.
max 7-8 yards, maybe 10. Like that's all the
crazy.
shooting you had.
What kind of... Was it like red brush or was it more like
It was just tall
laurels, or-
pines.
Tall. Well,
There
it was,
was
it was
no-
just pine after pine after pine.
There was no sunlight coming in. I don't understand how there was so much brush growing.
Yeah, it was tall pines, but then I don't know what kind
Just
of
a lot
brush it was.
undergrowth?
Yeah, it almost looked like that European, like that alder. Like that's what I thought it kind of was, like just nasty thick, and then there was just like little like basically game trails that you could line up on and shoot down. And there were birds in there, but man, it was tough.
Good luck seeing them.
a lot of bugs too.
The bug, some of them, yeah, maybe even cost us a bird. That many bugs.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
I
I'm going to apologize early on that one.
We don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
we'll never know.
So anyway, in front of the ravine, hardwoods, big open field road, and then on the back side, the woods kind of loops around and makes like this landlocked pasture. So, that's where.
Is it like a used pasture or an old
Yeah,
pasture?
no, there was cows in it.
Okay.
We had to
They
cross.
love turkey calls.
Yeah,
Well, old pastures, I love hunting in
No,
old, like over.
Cows love the sound of a turkey call.
yeah. We got like stampeded by a herd of cows.
Really?
Yeah, they came running into the turkey calls.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't know what this dude, the farmer, had going on, because he had like, I don't know, pasture after pasture, but they were like small. Like I don't know why he didn't just do one
big
big
one.
one. But yeah, I don't know, like a dozen fence lines we had to cross.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Why didn't you just cut them? Make it
that's
easier.
not a bad idea. But yeah, so it could have been like I don't know, 200-yard walk, but we didn't want to cross the ravine to get to that landlocked or that woodlocked field, because the birds were roosting in the ravine. So we had to make a big loop all the way around, cross the ravine at the road, and then loop up through all the pastures. And it was probably a 45-minute walk. So we had to get there at like 3:45 because it got light. You're so far east. It's
Shooting hours were 5 o'clock.
yeah.
That's nuts.
So yeah, horrible walk, all uphill, crossing fence
Probably
lines.
both ways.
Yeah, crossing fence lines. It's pitch black. You got cows mooing that could run you over, and you have nowhere to go. It's kind of scary. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but we got where we needed to be and get set up, and dead quiet on the roost, like not a peep. I'm like, what the heck? And Keith, he's like, for whatever reason, the birds always talk late here. And at like 6:30, we hear, yep, 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 yep. hens start lighting up. I'm like, all right. And then gobbler hammers. I'm like, all right. So there's birds around. So there was 3 hens that came in behind us. And I was sitting on this tree, and I didn't want to turn my head and look at them because I could hear them, and they were like 10 yards away. And if anyone ever tells you, oh, you're calling too much, it's bullshit. Because this hen called for a half hour straight. I heard every single vocal a turkey could make. I heard clucks, purrs, whines, keys, fighting purrs. The hen started sparring for a little bit. It's freaking insane. Keith got to watch it because his head was turned that way. Mm-hmm. But being that they were so close, there was no way I could turn my head to see it. So I just listened to it. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. So after that, the hens finally come out of the woods and get into the field. And I'm watching them. I can finally turn my head a little bit. I turn and look the other way, and there's 3 jakes crossing the field. I'm like, oh, man, we are really in birds. So at that point, I think we had 7 birds out in front of us and more birds gobbling up the way. And so Keith's calling, and 2 more jakes come out of the timber and out into the pasture. And I don't even know how many more hens. Just the hen-to-gobbler ratio was unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Austin, I noticed that up there too. It seemed there was a ton of hens for every gobbler.
Yeah.
And it made it very difficult.
Yeah.
Like you hear one gobbler and there's 3 or 4 hens talking. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah. It's like Ed always says, why would you pay for phone sex when you have the real thing right there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tough to talk one away from a real hen.
Yeah.
You can try.
It doesn't usually work.
No. But so that spot kind of dies down, and so I learned that Keith, when he's turkey hunting, he's a big boots on the ground guy.
Yeah.
He's not one to sit and call. He's walking.
Yeah, that's me.
Walking and calling the whole time. After the first setup, yeah, you're moving.
You're never setting up again until you are right on them.
Yeah. So we spend quite a while walking. Get up to the highest point of the property. It's another field, and there's all these windmills up there, and we're just monkeying around taking pictures with the windmills because I never been that close to a windmill, and you don't realize how big they are until you're standing underneath one. Mm-hmm. They're massive. So it was pretty cool, and the views up there are unbelievable. So we're just kind of
up on Tug Hill.
Yeah, taking her all in, having a good old time. And we start walking across this field, and it's big rolling hills. Kind of feels like you're out west. It did not feel like I was hunting in New York State.
Yeah.
It was wild. So we get to the top of this roll in the hill. What do they call it? The nipple?
Yeah, Whitetail Journal refers to it as the nipple, yeah.
Yeah. Get to the nipple in the field, and I see a bird out there like 150 yards. So I drop down, get my head below the crest of the hill, and Keith pulls up his binos, and he's like, that's a gobbler. So he's like, let's army crawl into this hedgerow. So we both get down, work our way into the hedgerow, and I get set up, and it was perfect because the crest of the hill was like 35 yards.
Is it a crest or a nipple?
Nipple. The nipple's like 35 yards. So I know as soon as that bird comes up,
he's in range.
It's lights out. So Keith he calls one time, bird hammers back. And this is coming from Keith. I didn't hear it because the windmills are freaking loud.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just hammered. And I'm like, okay. So I'm set up, and Keith's just calling away on the old box call, and nothing. And I'm like, man, this bird should be here. And Keith leans over. He's like, do you see anything? And I'm like, no, I don't see anything yet. And I just kind of peek up a little bit, and I see a red head. So I duck back down. I'm like, he's coming, he's right here. So first bird comes up. I didn't know there was 2 birds. So I see one red head come up, and then I see a second one behind it. I'm like, okay. So first one pops up, and I'm like, all right, that's just a jake. And I'm like, maybe the second one's a longbeard. It pops up, and it's just a jake too. And I'm like, you know what? I got 2 turkey tags. We're on a 3-day hunt.
Make it happen.
Yep. So I line the old Benelli up, squeeze the trigger. I see what I thought was a miss because I just see one bird like fly up into the air and I didn't see another bird like flopping around, but the grass was pretty tall. And then I just see like a wing stick up out of the grass and fall down.
He's down.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, sweet. And this other bird's just standing there beating the shit out of the bird I just shot. And I try to talk Keith into shooting. I'm like, dude, let's double down. And he pulls his gun up, flips the safety off, and he's like, I can't do it. I'm like, Keith, come on, let's get a double. And then I see his finger go on the trigger. I'm like, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And that bird's just standing there.
Just begging to get shot in the face.
Yeah. And I'm waiting, and I see his finger come off the trigger. He's like, I can't do it. I'm like, all right, let's go grab this bird then. So we go up there, grab my turkey, and I'm not sponsored by Nitro Ammunition, but boy, do they put the frickin' smack down on a gobbler. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Both birds, 3 birds I've killed with them, they do not even flinch.
That's this one I shot. It was gone. It just disappeared in the high grass, and I'm like, did I freaking miss? And then I just see like a wing stick up, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Like usually
he's probably still alive. The other bird just finished him off for you.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, like you buy like a turkey load from the store, and you shoot them, they drop, but they flop around and whatnot, flap their wings and stuff. But yeah,
it shuts their system right down. It's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. So anyway, this was about 9:30. I squeezed one off, and you can turkey hunt till noon. So Keith obviously wanted to turkey hunt till noon. He still had a tag.
You should have been like, hey, you had one right there. That was your chance. We're going to the bar.
Yeah, because Tom's done for the day. You can only go one per day.
Yeah, so it's like 80 degrees at this point. I got my turkey chair that I like to use, which broke, so it's no good anymore. I got my gun, my turkey vest, and now I'm carrying a turkey. And we're up and down ravines, crossing barbed wire fences.
In 80-degree weather.
Yeah. While carrying a turkey with me everywhere I go. It was an absolutely horrible, grueling walk. And we didn't get on any more birds, but got back to the old Subaru, and I was ready to put that thing down.
Yeah,
I was tired of carrying it. Yeah. So we get back to camp. I get her all breasted out and cook up some burgers on the grill.
You had fresh turkey breasts and didn't...
I promised my fiance I'd cook them up for her if I ended up getting a bird this year.
Huh.
So I got a new thing I'm doing. I'm going to season with my own homemade dry rub. I'm going to do just a little garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, brown sugar. And I'm going to wrap it in bacon, put it in a crock pot, dump maybe half a beer, and then a bottle of barbecue sauce. And just put it on low in a roaster for 8 hours until it falls apart.
And you're just going to pull it then?
Yeah, have barbecued pulled turkey.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm all about it. So, didn't cook it up. I cooked up some venison burgers, and we ate those, and I was ready to celebrate. Nick, Austin, and Keith, they all went back into the cabin and took a nap. So I'm out there in my zero gravity chair by myself, listening to Morgan Wallen and drinking Busch Lights.
I can't believe Austin didn't hear the Morgan Wallen and just come running.
Yeah.
I opened the door, and I think Austin slammed it shut.
No, Tom, I think you're nickelbacking at that point.
No, that was later. That was, I think, the following day. I had enough Morgan Wallen for a 24-hour period. I switched it up. I nickelbacked it the next day.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, there's not much better than a post-hunt nap. Like when you hunt hard in the morning and then you come back to camp and you just slowly fall asleep. There's not.
Yeah,
much
not if
better
you
than
kill though.
Yeah. Well, especially with a bird,
Yeah.
that's when it's...
Then you're ready to.
Yeah, you're ready to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first day for me in Austin.
Did we ask?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my show.
Ouch.
Well, I meant, you know what I mean.
Nick,
Anyway.
tell us about your first day.
Yeah, so Austin and I
By
decided...
the way, Tom, congratulations on your birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Friday night, Austin and I decided that we were going to pick where we were going to hunt tomorrow morning without looking at maps until Saturday morning. We wanted to just
Wing it.
100%.
Full blown wing it.
So Austin and I get up a little late. Not, and when I say a little late, I'm saying like 3:45. So like still have time, you know. Just didn't have time for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So we get up. Austin says, turn right. So we turn right. We go down this road. We drive way back into this spot, and then boom, posted. Like the
Right off
the
the
road
dirt
to
road.
the dirt road turns into a private road. Dead. Like, yeah. So you drive like a mile and a half down this public road. It's private land around you, but the road's public to drive on.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden there's a gate posted. So like you can't get to where we wanted to hunt from that road. So that was
That's
shit.
odd that there's not like a sign.
Yeah,
when
there was
you turn
nothing.
down the road saying
Nothing.
that.
It even showed on my phone that there was like a public drive. You could even drive down it, but
Fenced off. So we had to turn around. Now we're really late. So we drive all the way to the other side of the property where we wanted to hunt and head in. We had to beat feet in. Probably one of the loudest walks I've ever made into the woods because it's so thick. I mean, you're breaking branches constantly getting through.
And you're in a hurry. So.
Yeah. So Austin and I get set up. We sit down, and within, 15 minutes, we hear a gobble.
yeah, it was
And
just getting kind of daylight, just enough to where you could kind of see.
And it was far. So Austin and I actually it was Austin was like, we got to go. We got to get closer. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So we look at the map. We can get right to the edge of this field, and there's like, it's public, and then it turns into private. So we kind of just tucked back, about 50 yards off the line. Once they cross into the public, we should be able to get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And these hens were, there were 3 hens probably?
More than that. There was more with the gobblers. That we heard like 3 gobblers when we were
Mm-hmm.
sitting there. And there was just kind of hens all around chirping. And I think they paired up with those gobblers as soon as they flew down, and they just shut right up.
But they were talking, gobbling, crazy, and then 2 hens came out into the field. They got to about 70 yards at the closest, but the gobblers never followed them. And then I had another gobbler off to my other side that was out on the tractor trail coming in. He was probably 100 yards gobbling over there, and I'm like, so we were like thinking
Surrounded.
first, yeah, we're like, holy shit, this is happening.
Yeah, I look at Nick. I'm like, this is going down.
We're way in it.
Yeah, so everything was going great, and then like, just out of nowhere, all of a sudden they quit gobbling. The birds left the field. Never saw the gobblers. It was just like, what the hell?
They just
We did
phased
hear-
out, shut down.
We did hear a bunch of drumming, but I don't know if that was a grouse or not.
I don't know. I think it was a grouse,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's
yeah.
up for debate.
Yeah, one of those things you'll never know, but
But so Austin and I did the old walking call, and about halfway through that's when we found out Tom shot a bird.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like, I don't know, like want to see this bird kind of thing, and weren't sure if they were still hunting. So I think Austin and I went and hit one more piece. Couldn't get on birds. Like Austin and I could not find birds after first light. Like we could not get anything to talk after 9 o'clock. Like it was just after 9, we couldn't get anything going. But we hunted till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And at this time, we didn't have bug spray, and we were just getting eaten alive. It was so bad. We were like, screw this. Let's just go back to camp. Let's go see Tom's bird. So that was day 1 for us. And then we went and celebrated Tom's bird the proper way after that nap. Got up Sunday, pretty slow for Sunday for our side of the fence.
I heard one gobble on Sunday, and it was about 11 o'clock. We were hitting one final spot. We call, bird hammers back like 400 or 500 yards away, like barely could hear
it.
Yeah, but I'm like 90% sure that was a gobble. Keith looks at me. He's like, no, that's definitely a gobble. So we're like, all right, let's try and cut the distance in half. So we work up that way, call, nothing, get a little closer, call, nothing, get a little closer, call, nothing. And we're like, you know what? It's like 11:50 at this point. Like, this bird, he's done. Call her a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, Sunday was slow. Saturday picked up a little bit. We had birds gobbling off Monday.
Okay.
Well, let's back up before we jump into Monday. So Sunday night, we decided to go do some driving around, try and locate some birds because it was we had a really slow day, both teams. Yeah. And it was just like, let's try and locate some birds for the morning, one last chance. And right at dark, we located 2 birds, 2 gobblers. Unfortunately, like 45 minutes from camp. So Austin and I were like, all right, we'll take the long haul. We'll get on those ones. So Tom, you guys discuss your plan that you and Keith came up with for Monday.
We hunted another piece of private that we hadn't hunted yet, and we ran into the dude, and he told us that he's been hearing and seeing birds. We're like, all right, we'll try to give it a shot. But we set up. We had birds going on the roost. They gobbled for half hour after they hit the ground, and then they shut up. And we just walked and called. We hit, I think, 4 or 5 more properties. I think we logged like 8 miles from first light till noon, just walking and calling. Never got a response after first light. It was tough. It was a grind. But
I'm sure it was even tougher because it's tough to stay motivated turkey hunting when it's 80 degrees and the bugs are just destroying you.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some sort of skin condition because of the amount of bug spray I was spraying on myself. But it's like either that or get eaten alive by mosquitoes. I'm like, this is a risk I'm willing to take. So lather me up.
Austin, do you want to go into Monday morning's hunt for us here?
Yeah, so we got up pretty early because we had that 45-minute drive. And so we get there, we pull up. I mean, we literally parked probably within 200 yards where those birds were even roosting.
Yeah, it was very short walk downhill.
Yeah. And then as soon as I open the door, bzzz, like they just start funneling in. I'm like, all right, I know this is going to be bad. So we get down.
We didn't have bug spray. Bug spray was 45 minutes away.
Yeah. And we get
Back
down
at camp?
Yeah.
Good spot for it.
Oh, yeah. So we get tucked in there. It was not a far walk. We get down in there. It's still dark. And we're sitting in this tree. And I don't know if they were biting around your neck or your face.
So I actually, as hot as it was, I had a sweatshirt because it had a hood. And I had my hood pulled up and then my mask
Cinched
over top
shut.
of that, like everything. But the only thing that was exposed is they were biting me through my pants and my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But they were buzzing around my head, so I couldn't hear shit.
I had one of those tight face masks, so it's wrapped around my ears and my neck, and I'm just sitting there, like, I'm going like this, and I just, like, flopping my hands around my ear, and I still can't get those bugs to get off me.
When you couldn't hear shit, it was just
That's so annoying.
like the entire morning. Awful.
That's great.
I've never been on a hunt to where I'm like, this is not worth it whatsoever. But, yeah, so we got there, and sure enough, we heard a couple gobbles, what I thought. And, I don't know what time it was then. We just, you said
Like quarter after 5, we heard first gobbles and some hens talking.
Yeah. And you go, I see him right there. And it was probably like 2 minutes later, and then I saw 3 come walking out like 80 yards away. And
Could you tell what they were?
Hens.
They were all
There were
hens.
3 hens, and they got into about 40.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
go ahead, Austin.
And then I couldn't take
I'm
it.
sure the gobblers were just 15, 20 yards behind them.
It would not surprise me. It probably was. I was to a point where I just kept flicking my face mask because I couldn't take it. I was so ready to get out of there. Like I was bit. You know that little hole in the back of your hat? I was getting bit all over right there, dude.
Anything
I
exposed.
felt like I was on Fear Factor because it was so bad.
I mean, I was at the point. I had my light on and my safety
Holy
off.
shit, I'm looking at your hand right now.
That's a week old.
You
Like-
see that?
Yeah, he showed
Yeah,
it to
both
me
of
the
them
other
are
day.
that bad. That's a week old. My entire hand, like in my legs, everything. It was terrible, dude.
I don't know why, but the bugs were not bad on private. Like I don't know what it was.
They know all the people are on public.
I don't know if it was like if they were hunting near swamps or something. But
Yeah, there was water right there, stagnant water. You could see the
when me and
stagnant
Keith
water.
were on private land,
No bugs.
no bugs. But when we did hunt a lot of public, we just, what's the term, douched ourselves in bug spray beforehand.
Yeah, it's bad.
I can't tell with all the poison ivy.
Look
I
at
got,
it.
but I'm sure that's a good portion of bugs too.
Look at the underside of your forearm there.
Yeah, the undercarriage.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's poison ivy.
But so Austin, what happened? Birds are at 40
Just say
yards.
it, Austin.
They saw me. I was to a point I don't even care. I'm like, it's driving me nuts. Dude.
Like I
It was
said,
just-
Start swatting.
They were coming pretty much right at us, and I think they noticed Austin's movement because they stopped at 40.
Mm-hmm.
And then after about 10 seconds, they were just, bam, gone. Running away. And I was like, I know I didn't do anything, and I didn't know Austin moved until we got back to the truck. He was like, hey, I think I've screwed us up there.
I tried to play it off like I did. Yeah, I don't
What
know
the
if
hell
they saw me.
Because I didn't see him. I was up, I'm aiming down my shotgun, looking, and I'm trying to put a beard on one of those hens,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't do it.
And Austin's over there dancing.
Yeah,
Going
pretty
nuts.
much. He was
so-
playing Dance
I
Dance
feel so
Revolution
bad.
over there on the tree.
That's a fine for sure.
Do you feel worse about spooking those birds or being an hour late?
Oh, spooking the birds, 100%.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We were on the card right there. We were talking about like what it would take for you to
Yeah,
screw
like,
up a
would you
hunt.
shit your pants?
oh, that's right.
To
I
shoot
forgot
off.
we had that conversation on the way up. Apparently, bugs are not enough to keep Austin from shit.
Oh,
He would
that's-
shit his pants. for-
Frank, I'll ask you, if you're sitting there turkey hunting and you got a gobbler hammering back and he came from like 300 and now he's at like 150 and it hits you like, I have to shit now.
Like you just ate 6 Greek dogs from New York lunch, hit you.
I'd probably shit.
Like, shit
Not
your
in
pants?
my pants. I would not. I don't think
You'd
I'd
spook
shit.
the gobbler?
Yeah. If we're talking big bucks, I'd shit my pants 100 times out of.
How
100.
many inch buck are we talking?
Yeah, what's the number?
I'd shit my pants for a 125.
I was gonna say if there was a 130, I'd shit my pants.
Double
But-
bearded gobbler.
Well, if he's 150,
He's
can I
80.
see
He's
him?
80
He's
now.
80.
He's 80. Ooh.
Yeah, because you mull it over, you're like, do I shit my pants? Do I...
And while
shit
you're
and
thinking
spook?
about it, he comes in 80 yards out,
And now
double
it's
beards.
like, okay, game time decision.
You can see his spurs 80 yards out.
I'd shit my pants. I'd shit my pants.
Would you swat a mosquito?
Well,
I tell you what, I'd rather
I-
jump in a bush of poison ivy than deal with those mosquitoes.
I will say it's almost an instinctive swat at mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I didn't move. I took it.
Yeah, you took it like it.
Let's get our listeners involved. Leave it in the comments. In
you
this little
shit your
discussion
pants?
we've had, yeah, would you shit your pants for a big buck? Would you shit your pants for a long beard?
And where's the line?
Yeah.
That's a
I'm
good
telling
one.
right now, my line, I would shit myself for a 125 buck, and I'd shit myself for any long beard. Or any potential long beard.
I wouldn't do it for any potential long beard, not just any. If it was double bearded, I'd shit my pants.
I
But
feel like
If
shitting
I
your
have a-
pants is a little bit like meth. Like once you've done it once, it just kind of opens the floodgates and you do it again. So like if you did it on a buck, I think like that turkey
you're
would be
just like,
easier. Like I've
shit
done
my
this
pants all
before.
the time.
I know how to react to this.
But luckily for me, like and this is not the case for Nick, but
you
very
almost never shit your pants.
no, very rarely does like a turd hit my stomach that's like now, like
Yeah.
right now. Like
It
I can
makes you get off a treadmill every morning.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom's made it a full hour without pooping halfway through.
Let's just, I'm not like squaddling over there trying not to shit. Like I get a better run after I relieve myself.
But if there was a big buck in front of the treadmill, he might hang on a little longer.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, leave it in the comments.
That's a good one.
I look forward to it.
To reading those.
You know, nobody ever leaves them in the comments.
They might this time though.
This is a good conversation, though. So
This is very informative shit we're talking here.
Literal.
literal shit.
Well, Tom, since this episode is about you, do you feel like closing us out tonight?
Yeah.
Why don't you, before you totally close us out, maybe let the listeners know what we're up to this weekend, why we're all together right now.
Oh yeah, we are. Bags are packed. We just had to record a quick podcast. We're not recording on Wednesday because we had. What did we have?
Softball.
Softball was Wednesday, so we couldn't record on our usual night. Frank was cutting timber Thursday, so we're coming at you Friday night from the studio. Bags are already packed. We're heading up to the headquarters to start
Food
prepping
plot
fields
season.
for corn and soybeans. Got to move a couple stands. We're going to get our cameras hung up. So even though turkey season's over, make sure you're still getting outside.